Alright, welcome guys. Today we have a very exciting kit. We are going to do a quick unboxing, review. Spoiler alert, this is from the video that I posted on New Year's Eve, which was my top 5 kits that I was most excited for in 2025. So that video was met with ridiculous success. I'm really doing this to just online, blog my builds and share them with anyone that is interested. And that video had, again, a ridiculous amount of interest. And thank you all for watching and commenting. And there were a lot of people that subscribed to the channel. So it's about time we get into those builds because I know you guys, I guess, were equally excited as I was to build these kits. This kit, without further ado, will be, I guess you already know because you see the title of the video, but I like the little surprise factor. It's the Takom Tiger. Now, this is the version that has the Zimmerit pre-molded. There is a ton of plastic in this kit, and at least at the time that I'm recording this, I'm just finishing up the BF-110. Which was a fun build, but it was a really, really simple build. 172 aircraft, not a lot of parts, kind of an older Airfix kit. And if you don't know, my favorite part of building models or making models is the build portion. So I've been putting this one off a little bit. Just, again, there's going to be a lot of time that goes into the build, but I'm in the right frame of mind to glue tons of plastic together. So without further ado, let's flip it over and let's see what's in the box. Alright, so Takom's Tiger. This is, again, there's so much plastic in this box. It doesn't, I don't even have enough room to really fit it in my little station here. But that's my problem. So, we recently did the Panther from Das Werk, which is basically Takom, right, reboxed. And I said that, that was one of the most legendary tanks of World War II. This has to be the most. Maybe not the most, successful, the most, produced or used or whatever, but it's got to be the most feared, right? This is kind of the tank that everybody thinks of when they think of the legendary tanks of World War II. This has got to be at the top, which makes this really, really exciting. Now, I have only ever built one Tiger. If you follow the channel, I like to do a lot of, maybe the more quirky vehicles like half tracks, armored cars. Obviously, I love tanks, but, tank destroyers. A lot of the stuff that's maybe less common. I did build Academies. It was a Citadel version of their Tiger, but it's an older kit. It was okay. I had a lot of fun building it. But they didn't come with Zimmerit. That was always a huge thing. I saw many, many videos on adding your own Zimmerit, and that wasn't going to happen. I wasn't going to go down that road. So this was, again, we'll do just the quickest history on it. 88 millimeter. They took the guns off naval ships and put them on tanks. That really tells you everything that you need to know about this tank. They were like the 88 millimeter flak 18s, things like that is what they derived from. So super, super powerful. We see them in, movies and Fury and everything. And who doesn't love a Tiger? Yes, they had their mechanical problems and things like that, which ultimately led to their demise. Got outflanked and things like that. But we hear about Michael Whitman and guys that, had 100 tank kills in these things. So let's look in the box. Let's see what we got. That's enough. I think everyone knows the history on the Tiger. Ooh. All right, so first off, let's take a look. We have our bathtub style hull. Nothing really too crazy here. Looks like we're going to get some nice suspension elements that go on the inside. Not a lot of detail on the hull. Yes, on the underside. But when we take a look at, I forget how many sprues, it was like 13 or something. When we take a look at all the sprues, this lack of detail is going to make sense because this is a kit that, at least from first glance, very much like Takom's, the small half track I built a couple months ago, we are going to be adding the detail, which makes this a really, really exciting kit and, you know, a lot of work. Then we have our turret ring, and this will be our first glimpse at the Zimmerit that we have molded on here. Now, I think Takom did an unbelievable job. It's randomized. Yes, you do have sections that, you know, look pretty, you know, consistent, but then you have some little patches here where it looks like the Zimmerit has chipped off and things like that. Again, you have some nice consistent areas, and then these little areas where, I don't know, a bullet hit it, whatever, and our Zimmerit is chipped. So really, really cool and exciting to see that there already. We then have our wheels, and this is one of the reasons, to be completely honest with you, that I don't build a ton of German vehicles, at least the big ones, the Tigers and Panthers. There's just a lot of road wheels here, like a lot. But we have really nice detail. They're in one piece, so Takom has spared us. That looks like really, really nice. Just subtle details they're molded on, but looks like they have spared us from, you know, maybe having to put extra pieces together here, like the half track. Some of the wheels were in 2 or 3, 4 pieces. I like that these are in one, so that is very, very nice. We don't have to go too crazy with that. We then will get into, we're not taking these out in any particular order, just kind of how they're stacked, but we'll get into some smaller parts here. So this is going to be part of the gun. On the inside, I will be displaying everything closed. So we won't see this, probably won't paint it, anything like that. But we have a lot of different parts of the turret here, the inside of the gun mantlet, if you will. And then this is interesting. I'm trying to figure out, this is like part of an MG34 or 42 here, but just really the stock. I guess it's part of this up here. So they've given us a full piece 34, but then we also have one that we can construct in different pieces there. So a lot of small parts, a lot of stuff. Looks like we have some bullets here, which is nice. Nice little detail. But yeah, a lot of different small parts. So again, we are going to be adding detail to this kit. The detail that is molded on is very nice. You see on the upper hole here, we do have some really nice texture. On the back of the upper hole here, we have our weld seams, everything like that. Weld seams around the top of the turret. Have our muzzle brake, different tools. And this is really, really nice. The tools are molded in a way that they have that little hole drilled out. I've seen it on some of the newer kits that have done that, but I gotta say 99% of the kits that I've ever seen it's just a blob, right? There's no molded out or drilled out part. And I took the advice from Champion Scale Model, which is one of the model channels that I followed the most. And you can use a little drill bit if you don't have those, and get that little detail, which is nice. And we have some pretty standard wood texture on that little box there, but looks really, really nice so far. And then we have all of these Takom kits, at least to my knowledge. There were 3 of them initially released, and I think there's 2 more, but they all come with some different variants, which is really, really nice. So even though they release anywhere from 3 to 5 kits, it's like they release 20. In this, you see, for example, we have 3 different mantlet options. They look pretty similar, but there are some slight differences here. And you can see there's some really nice Zimmerit molded on there. Top of the turret for our periscopes, different parts of the gun here. And even, like, look at these hatches. if I can get this to focus. The Zimmerit on the hatches is just chipped away on the edge there, where, you know, the edges of the hatch where it's going to be opened and grabbed onto. I think it's awesome. Here's a different muzzle brake. So it looks like we'll have different options for our main gun. And then we have two of these, so I'll just show one. We have our idlers, sprockets. Looks like part of the exhaust fan here, and part of our suspension. And then again, many small parts in the middle. Here's some different tools and things like that are going to go on. So there are some tiny pieces on this kit. I can't wait to fling this into the abyss with my tweezers. Hopefully all of the different, I mean, look at these little tiny grab handles here. Yeah, I'm absolutely gonna fling one of those into the abyss and swear, and my wife's gonna think I broke something when really all I did was lose a tiny little piece. For our tow cables, here's our fans. Really nice. Looks like we're gonna get a lot of detail, but again, some really small parts. That'll be interesting to see how that goes. Looks like this is going to be part of the lower hull. So I'm showing the opposite side of it. But where our sprockets or idlers are going to go, we have our little fire extinguisher. Nothing too crazy on this sprue. Again, it is nice when we get a bathtub style hull, but I prefer to build it up. So it looks like Takom has done both for us. We get a bathtub style hull, but we also get some different parts of the front and back, where the wheels, again, sprockets and idlers are going to go to kind of build it out a little bit more. So that's cool. We then have, these are not barrels, these are like rolled up tarps that are going to go, just different accessories. We have another top, so again, going with the variants. We'll be able to choose from 2 or 3 different variants along with the paint schemes and things, but actually building, we can do some different variants, which is really cool. Very similar to their half track. So you can see here, these little tarps and things are going to build up together. So they come in multiple pieces, which I guess they do it because there's really good detail on there. They almost look like resin parts. They're so well molded. So that's pretty cool. And they ended up looking really good in the half track. Seemed a little excessive to put them in different pieces, but they fit so perfectly together that you don't know once you glue them. So I'm okay with that to get that level of detail. Then we have spare road wheels with tarps covering them. These are definitely going to be interesting to paint, but it looks like Takom, looks like this piece is going to fit over here. And then this piece of the road wheel will probably like slot right under it into that piece there. So we should be able to keep the paint separate. Might be a little bit difficult to get a clean line there, but that is a really cool accessory. It's one that, you know, would take us spare parts and scratch building and everything like that to build up. And Takom has given that to us just here in 3 different pieces. So I think that is one of, it's a simple part, but I think that's one of the coolest parts of the kit and most exciting right there. We don't get a million accessories, but I think the accessories they give us are really great. We then have our little jerry cans here with some nice engraved writing there. Of course, we have our pail. Very common to see the pail hanging off the back of the Tiger. I don't know where the handle of the pail is. I'm sure maybe that's on another sprue. And then looks like this will be the front. Again, that randomized Zimmerit, this section here in particular, just looks great in my opinion. It looks like it was put on and the Tiger hasn't been in a ton of battles, but maybe it was in 1 or 2 scraps so far, and just really cool. We do get 5 German helmets here, which is interesting because there are no figures. We can hang a helmet off of a, you know, hook on the side of the tank, I guess, and just add a little bit of interest somewhere. And then we have these two, I guess if you're building a diorama, we have this little like barrel here for fuel or something like that. I don't believe that's going to go on the tank. I could be wrong, but I don't see it on the box art or anything like that. So again, I think Takom has just given us some nice diorama pieces. And then I believe, just from looking at it before, obviously these are going to be the like air vents, but these are going to go in under those vents. It's, I think, the first or second step, something like that. And we will have to watch out if this is the right piece that I'm thinking of. Apparently they do not fit. And they keep you, it's like the first step you put this piece in, and one of the last steps you attach the upper hull, and it won't fit because you put these pieces in. So I'm going to see if they're even necessary. I'll make sure to point it out in the build, because if you watched my Takom half-track build, I had errors in the instructions. It was a really frustrating part of that kit. It felt like the instructions were made by AI. Right, if any of us have ever used ChatGPT or whatever it's called, we know it gives you a 90% perfect sentence with a little oddity thrown in there. So that's what I mean by that. But nice detail, underside of the hatches. You can display all the hatches open or closed in this kit. It doesn't look like they're workable. Just from my first glance at the kit, it looks like they have to be glued either open or closed. We don't get an interior or figures, so I'm not going to leave anything open, but that's just me. We then, again, have multiple different options here. So they look very, very similar. I'm sure they have very slight differences, although these two look identical. This piece, obviously, there's no Zimmerit on this one. So I'm not sure what variant that is. I'm not going to use that because I want the Zimmerit. That's why I bought this kit. We then have what looks like side skirts and different things like that. Nice texture on this piece again. Zimmerit on our back plate. Obviously with space for us to put our exhaust and things like that. And probably the side skirts or something will attach there. But really, really nice what they've given us. And to remember, this kit, I want to say like the big box is $50 or $60. I bought this on its own because it's a lot of plastic if you buy 3 of these. If you love tigers, it's an insane deal. But I figured I was just going to build one. Now, what do we have? We have some different tools here. But for the price, what they give you in this kit is pretty ridiculous if you think about it. We have our jack and a bunch of just small little pieces here. Again, little tools and things like that. Looks like the jack is going to be in many, many pieces. And then we have some small cable here, which is really, really nice. I like when they do this. You'll see, I'll show in a second the cable that we get, but I like the pre-molded shape, especially on a tiger or panther, where it's in that exact pattern. We don't have to worry about sag or anything like that, or kinks in a rope or wire, so that's nice. Last but not least, in terms of sprue, and again I'll just show because we have 2 and 2, I'll just show 1 and 1 here. We have our tracks. Now, I have obviously not built these tracks. We have link and length with what I assume is the bottom portion, and then the top portion, of course, and some other small, sets of 3, 4, 5 there, but mostly singular tracks here. The detail looks really nice. There are not really, there's one line of injector pin marks here. It's really hard to see. I wouldn't even probably bother cleaning that up. And they're not on the single sections, which is nice. The single sections are just going to need the sprue nibs cleaned up. But you probably wouldn't even see that anyways. They then have given us the teeth here, which you could, cut this whole thing out, glue it on, and then take your sprue nippers and really cut off a large section at once, which is nice, but my buddy who built this kit, Marsh, if you're watching, shout out to him, basically told me these tracks were terrible. He had a terrible time building them, so I'm not going to be building them. I got a 3D printed set of tracks that just, I don't know, seem like they're going to be a lot easier. And so I'm taking the easy way out on that. We then also get wire for our tow cable. I assume this kink in the middle will be fine. It ended up looking really nice on the DOS Work Panther. Better than rope, I think. And it has a little bit of weight to it, so it helps us with that sag, although on that kit I had to glue it down anyways, at least in parts, to get that perfect sag. We then have a small sheet of photo etch for grills and screens and things. Off the top of my head, not sure. These are going to be for the pail, for the bucket. I'm imagining those are the handles. Not sure what this top kind of star-shaped piece is. I guess it's for the, maybe for like one of the antennas, something like that. We have our decals, or decals if you're watching from the UK. And not a lot. I mean, pretty common, I guess, for German tanks of this, you know, era. These heavy tanks and later war tanks. They didn't have a ton of decals on them, which is nice. I think a decal does add a lot. It comes with its own issues like carrier film, but it just adds some interest to the kit. And then we have periscopes here and some lights. Nothing too crazy, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 periscopes. So lots of periscopes here. And then, last but not least, our metal gun barrel, which looks awesome. I kind of feel like every kit at this point, if Takom, and I know they're, you know, from China, hopefully, you know, they stay cheap, but if Takom can give us a metal gun barrel for a $35 kit, however much this was, it kind of feels like everyone should be at this point. I do think, as nice as the metal gun barrels are, they are slightly, I'm not going to say overrated, but something along those lines. They scratch really easily. You need a specific primer if you want to prime them perfectly. So there is that part of it that I don't dislike it, I just don't love it, if that makes sense. But like Tamiya has been doing it. I forget which kit I just built recently. Oh no, it was a DOS Work Panther. We got a plastic and a metal gun barrel. That's what all these kits should be doing. To be completely honest, I know it's a little bit, you know, me just wanting everything, but at this point, this thing must cost 30 cents if Takom can throw it in here on a $35 kit. So those are all of the sprues. We then have our instructions, which they are classic Takom instructions. I will be obviously, like I said, pointing out any sort of, you know, discrepancies or issues. I don't know if there are any, although, well, I shouldn't say that. I know there's one, that first part that we're going to put on. I don't know if there's any more or any more mislabeled things, but we will we'll make sure to point that out if any of you are looking to build this kit. Turn the light off here. Let the camera adjust. So we have one marking option, which looks pretty cool. Looks maybe a little bit difficult to freehand that camo perfectly. We have this second marking option, which comes with, if you saw the decal, that knight. That's pretty cool. That stands out to me immediately. Sometimes I get suckered into the scheme by just a cool decal. So that's our second marking option. We have our third, and then our fourth. So 2, 3, and 4, kind of similar. You know, a lot of dark yellow, although they're all the 3-tone camo. Really just this first one that's heavy green and red, which is what stands out to me, but looks like it's going to be a lot. If you look at the back here, to get it like that would be hard, but maybe like the Panther, we can just kind of freehand something and get something to look the way we want it to. So that's the review. Obviously next step will be building this kit. Really, really excited about it. And I thank you guys for watching. If you are building this kit, if you're planning on building this kit, obviously please comment, let me know how it's going, what you're thinking about doing, maybe from a painting perspective, whatever comes to mind. If you've made it this far and you haven't already, I'd please ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. Obviously, we will be doing this build. I'm gonna try maybe out of my next 8 builds, I think I'll incorporate those top 5 I did. So if that video brought you here, we'll definitely be getting into those, but you know what's coming next, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.